What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for January 15th, 2023. Big win for the Sixers. They start their West Coast trip off with a 118-117 win over the Jazz. No Tobias, but James and Joe played pretty well. Both had, I think James had 31, Joe had 30 something points again, and he hit the game. Joe hit the game winner with 4 seconds left. Not a bad Utah team. It's a tough place always to play, but it's good to get that first win on a West Coast trip out of the way. So they'll look to continue the success. But the Flyers, they've officially done it. They have played themselves into playoff consideration. They won 3-1 over the Capitals last night, and they're 500. They are like 6 points out of that last wild card spot, and it might take a monumental losing streak for them to get back into the discussion for one of those top picks. So it's kind of disappointing, but we'll see how it goes. I don't think they're constructed to win, but I mean, they keep winning, so we'll see. I don't think if they would make the playoffs, I don't see them doing anything. I don't think they're as talented as the other guys, but I don't know. We'll have to kind of see where this goes at this point. Temple Owls play the Memphis Tigers at the Liacouras Center. Should be a good test for them. 3 o'clock this afternoon in the middle of all of the playoff action. But anxious to see how they stack up and start playing some of these tougher teams now in the conference. Speaking of the playoffs, the first game was a dud. And listen, I know he hit a couple timely passes. I think Brock Purdy at some point is going to get exposed. I don't necessarily think he's that good. And he's more of a check down. But when you have Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle as your check down options, I guess that's what you have. So something to monitor. But, I mean, the Seahawks are just a bad team. So I don't necessarily think that you can take much out of that game last night. But, oh, well. And Chargers fans, man, that's a tough one. You're up 27 points, and you lose that game to Jacksonville and Dougie P. I don't know whether that was more Jacksonville beating themselves in the first half or just the nerves or what, or the Chargers beating themselves in the second half. But it felt like second half something clicked for Jacksonville. So good to see Dougie P win, but looking forward to a big day of playoff action to this afternoon. But let's take it back now. This day in Philly sports history, January 15th, 1965. This is the day the Sixers traded for hometown hero Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt was out of Overbrook High, went to Kansas, left Kansas after his junior year, played a couple years with the Globetrotters because the NBA wouldn't allow underclassmen to join the NBA if their class hadn't graduated. It was a funky rule. So he played with the Globetrotters. Then he was drafted by the Philadelphia Warriors, which not sure how many people know that the Warriors, before they moved out to California, played in Philly, but it was part of they had like a territorial draft where you could exchange your first round pick for a pick, and somebody that lived within 50 miles of your home arena. So the Warriors were like, yeah, we'll take Wilt Chamberlain, who's just a beast. But once they moved to San Francisco, the Sixers, that's when they moved down. They were from Syracuse. They were Syracuse Nationals. But on this day, they traded Lee Shaffer, Connie Dierking, and Paul Neumann, along with $150,000 to the Warriors, who were struggling, kind of looking to figure out their way out there in San Francisco for Wilt. Wilt, believe it or not, even though he was from Philly, wasn't very happy about the trade. He had liked San Francisco. It was more of a liberal place for him, and obviously this is a time during the height of like the civil rights movement, so he really enjoyed it. But he also, part of why he hated it was he hated the Syracuse Nationals as a team, and even though they had moved and they became the Sixers, to him they were still the Nationals. I guess it would be the equivalent of like when the Oilers moved to Tennessee at first, and everybody was like, "Oh no, they're still the Oilers, even though they're the Titans." But as soon as he made an impact, as soon as he got to the Sixers, led them to the division final, which would be the equivalent today of the conference finals. They lost 4-3 to Boston. And that was kind of a theme throughout his career, was not being able to get over the hump and beat the Celtics a lot. The next year, same result. They lost to Boston in the divisional final. He won the MVP. The following year, he won the MVP again. But the Sixers won the NBA championship. They went 68-13, which some say until like you had the Warriors of I forget what year it was, but the recent Warriors team. You had a couple of those Bulls teams, even the Lakers in 2001 when they beat the Sixers. But a lot of people said that that 67-68 Sixers team, or I guess it was 66-67, they were one of the greatest teams ever. So they kind of rolled through. So he brought the championship to Philly. The next year, he won his third straight MVP award, decided he wanted to lead the league in assist, and led the league in assist. But they lost to the Celtics again. Now, during this time, he had some issues with the ownership. He was fighting with the coach, and just a lot of things were kind of going on, I guess, on the back of behind the scenes. And he did get traded to the Lakers, of all teams. And it was, again, disagreements with the ownership. He felt in his mind he had outgrown Philly, that he was just a bigger star than what the city could handle. So he wanted to be out in LA with more celebs. And this, I guess, everybody's heard the stories about Wilt. I won't go into that. But one of the things was he would be able to date white women out in LA. Because, again, California was a little bit more liberal with things. And remember, again, this is still during the civil rights time, and it would probably be frowned upon in a lot of places in and around Philadelphia at that time. So traded him to the Lakers, and he only spent 3.5 seasons in Philly, but he made a huge impact. Like I said, 3.5 seasons, he won the championship. He won 3 MVPs, upset a lot of people. My uncle became a Lakers fan because he was such a huge Wilt Chamberlain fan that he was pissed off at the Sixers for trading him, and became a Lakers fan back then, and has been a Lakers fan the entire time. And that's just the impact that Wilt had on this city and the team. But his number is retired by the Sixers. It's also retired by the Warriors as well as the Lakers too, which is pretty cool that he just made that big of an impact, winning championships with 3 teams. But on this day, back in 1965, Wilt Chamberlain comes back home and is traded from the San Francisco Warriors to the Sixers. He did win them a championship and 3 titles in his 3.5 seasons here. But go enjoy your Sunday. Big day for playoff football. Go Owls. And until next time, I will see you when I see you.